Yeah, hello guys and welcome back to the channel. Now everyone knows I am a huge Sega enthusiast, and the one thing that warms my heart is when I see the younger generation wanting to get into Sega collecting. Now a lot of you may know already that I went to the Bolton Gaming Market this week and had an absolute blast. But one of the interactions they had there was just memorable. A gentleman by the name of Adam had taken his son because they was looking into starting their very own Sega Megadrive collection. Now, straight off the bat, I gave him a bit of advice because they was looking at buying the Megadrive 2 as their starting system. Absolutely not. You start with the Megadrive 1. So that got me thinking into the idea for this video. I want to give people a guide on how to start a Sega Mega Drive collection, on what games to buy, which system to buy, and which accessories to invest in. Let's get into this. Now, the reason I say go for the initial launch system, which is this beauty right here, is first and foremost the design of the system. The Sega Mega Drive 1 is one of the most beautiful systems ever made. The Sega Mega Drive 2 is a lot smaller and may look a little bit sleeker, but a couple of things that you need to take into into consideration. First and foremost, the Sega Mega Drive 1 has RGB output, so it has SCART, where the Sega Mega Drive 2 only has RAF. So visually and the audio on the Sega Mega Drive 1 is far superior and makes the console a lot easier to play on modern TVs. Also, as well, cool little feature, the Mega Drive 1 does have an audio jack there as well, so if the parents don't want to be hearing all the pew-pews going on as you're playing your game, you can plug in some earphones and you can still listen to your game while you're playing as well, just by plugging in a headset into the front of the system. A cool little addition. That's not on the Sega Mega Drive 2. And personally as well, I feel as though the Sega Mega Drive 2 has a very weird toy feel to it. It's very toy-esque. The plastic is very flimsy, and as you can see, when I squeeze my system, I don't mind breaking it, there's no sound. With the Sega Mega Drive 2, if you put any pressure on it, it makes a really weird squeaking sound. Like everything's just compressed. It's horrible. It's really weird. It's a system that is, in my opinion, is not very well designed, and they feel Sega cut a lot of corners just to kind of emphasize, hey, this is a new Mega Drive. Let me make sure everyone gets it. So, in my opinion, you've got to start with the system itself, obviously, and you've got to start right. Pick the Mega Drive 1 as your starting system. Right, so now you've got your system, and you've picked the right one. Let's get into the games. What sort of games should you be going for? Now, obviously, my picks are my picks, and all I can give you is advice. You may have your own list of games that you want to go for, and that is fine. That's perfectly fine. This is your collection. But a bit of advice I was given is go for genres. Try and cover all the genres with your first lot of picks. I mean, I have hack and slash, platformers, run and guns, and adventure games. These were some of the first games I ever picked up, and these particular games are in my top 10. But when I say go for genres, I mean try and cover all angles. So your genres available are your hack and slash games, platformers, beat 'em ups, fighting games. You got run and guns. You've got shoot 'em ups or shmups, as most people call them. RPGs, sports titles if you're into them, racing titles if you're into racing titles. Them two categories I'm not really into, but I do have some suggestions for them. Puzzle games, action adventures. These are your genres that you kind of want to cover when starting your collection. That way you've got something to appease everyone within the family. So I've got some suggestions. With this next part, I'm gonna give you an either or. Again, personal opinion. I just feel these are titles that I feel are great titles to start with and are affordable. I didn't want to go and go get Castlevania New Generations as one of your first games, because you don't want to be spending £250 on video games when they're starting their collection. So these games I suggest, they are super cheap, up to around about £50, which I'm, in personal opinion, I think paying £50 for a retro game is a fair price still. So yeah, these are some of the suggestions I've got, and we will kickstart this with the hack and slash. So the first option, I'm giving you Chakan. If you're into your dark and challenging action games, Chakan is a game well worth checking out. You play as Chakan, a cursed warrior who cannot die until he defeats all the supernatural evil. The game has a unique, eerie atmosphere with very, very detailed sprite work, especially for an early release on the Mega Drive. Your combat, you use 2 swords, and you can attack in different angles, like up, straight up, forward. You can jump and do diagonal attacks as well, so you can kill enemies from various different positions within the game. And as you play through, you get these little potions that level you up, make you a little bit stronger, a little bit faster. Now, don't get me wrong, this game is hard as nails, but if you enjoy the challenge, Chakan is a solid and affordable pickup to start off with your collection. And my second option is Revenge of Shinobi. This is a classic for any Sega Mega Drive collector. You play as a ninja that is on a mission to take down an evil foe named Zed, I think they're called, the Zed organization, something like that. The gameplay is smooth, tight controls, and you have access to different ninjutsu techniques. They add a very unique style to your combat. You need to make sure you're using the right abilities at the right time. And one good thing about Revenge of Shinobi is their music is conducted by the legendary, I'm actually going to butcher his name, Yuzo Koshiro, I think that's what he's called. He's done so many memorable tracks throughout the Mega Drive lifespan, and will always be known as one of the best conductors of video game music ever. Personal opinion, I would say Revenge of Shinobi is the better pick out of the two, but that's down to you to decide. So now for the platformer genre. My first pick is Sonic 2. If you're looking for one of the best platformers out there, Sonic 2 has got you covered. It improved on everything that Sonic 1 had. Gameplay, level design, introduction to more characters, faster, and not to mention probably one of the most iconic soundtracks for any Sega Mega Drive OST ever made. Now, I don't need to go into too much detail on what Sonic 2 is. If you've never heard of Sonic 2 before, I'd recommend just leaving this video. We can never be friends. Ever. Sonic 2 is one of the most iconic games and easily one of the best platformers on this system. Next up, we have Disney's Aladdin, one of the best looking games on the Sega Mega Drive, hands down. It has amazing animations created by the official Disney animators. It makes it look and feel like you're playing through an episode or a short of the movies itself. Obviously, you play as Aladdin, the Agrabah thief, as you traverse through different levels that's featured in the official Disney movie itself. And one of the most important aspects of this breakdown is it's a very affordable game. You can pick this game up boxed, complete, beautiful condition for about a tenner. Personal opinion, if I had to pick out of these, my biased opinion, I'm going for Sonic 2. No Sega Mega Drive collector should ever start collecting and not have Sonic 2 in their library. We have one of the most iconic beat-em-ups on the Mega Drive, the Streets of Rage 2. This is a game that takes the formula from the original and amps it up with better graphics, tighter control, and an awesome soundtrack, again, by Koshiro. You can choose from 4 unique characters, each with their own playstyle, each with their own movesets, as you take on waves of enemies in a classic style side-scroll action. The game is known for its fast-paced combat and its fun co-op play as well, making it an absolute must-have for any fans of this genre. Plus, it is one of the more affordable games, but it's climbing fast. I mean, about a year ago you could pick it up for about a tenner, completely boxed. Now it's around about £25, so this is a game that is an investment game. You'd buy it, pick it up in a few years' time, it'd be worth a little bit more if you decide to ever sell it on. And my second option is Golden Axe, another classic beat 'em up to consider. Set in a fantasy world, the game lets you fight through hordes of enemies while riding on mythical creatures and picking up power-ups to clear screens. You can choose from 3 different characters, each with their own abilities. And again, you can team up with your friends and do co-op action as well. So you and Dad can both pick up a controller and start whooping some ass in some classic hack and slash combat. Now, I personally don't think Golden Axe is the better of the options when it comes to the Golden Axe trilogy, but I definitely start with the first one, allowing you to kind of progress, because the price of the games progress as well. Golden Axe 1 you can pick up for about a tenner. Golden Axe 2's round about £25, £30 box complete. And Golden Axe 3's kind of one of them ones that you will buy later down the line when you want to start picking up some of your heavy hitters, because it's quite expensive, Golden Axe 3. But yeah, personal opinion, if I had to go with these, I'd say Streets of Rage 2. Now for your fighters genre. First up, we have Street Fighter 2, the game that defined competitive fighting on the Sega Mega Drive. Whether you're playing as Ken or Ryu, personal opinion, I was a Vega or Balrog player. It has tight controls and responsive combat for each of the characters. The gameplay is all about mastering the moves and mastering the combos to counter your opponent, with each character having their own unique fight style and special moves. It is still considered one of the best fighting games of all time. Luckily, it's still affordable to add to your collection. And if you're a fan of fighting games, this, in my opinion, could be a must-have. And the next up is Mortal Kombat 2. This is one of the most famous fighting games of its era, known for its brutal combat and of course its iconic fatalities. The game builds on everything the original gave you, with smoother gameplay, more characters, and absolute crazier finishers. The roster includes some of the most iconic characters such as Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Liu Kang. Scorpion was always my go-to, and each of them have their own unique devastating moves. Mortal Kombat 2 is a perfect pick up and play for anyone looking to just straight up whoop some ass. Fast paced combat and excessive gore. What more can you ask for? And again, Mortal Kombat 2 is one of them games that is affordable. Probably pick it up for around about £15, complete in box. But it is one that, again, is climbing in price. So you could look at this as maybe an investment game. Personal opinion, and this is a biased opinion, I've always been a big fan of the Mortal Kombat franchise over the Street Fighter franchise. I'm a bit of a go-ahead. So I'd say go with Mortal Kombat 2. My first pick was RoboCop vs. Terminator. This game is a wild mix of two iconic sci-fi franchises. You get to play as RoboCop as you battle against Skynet's Terminators in a dystopian future. The gameplay is brutal, fast-paced, and can be very, very challenging, but you have abilities and to upgrade your weapons as you traverse through the chaos. It's got a dark, gritty atmosphere that fits perfectly with its source material. While not the most common game to find, it's still affordable and a fun addition for fans of both franchises. I like to look at this game as this is the greatest movie we never got. We got Freddy vs. Jason. We got Alien vs. Predator, but we never got RoboCop vs. Terminator. On the big screen, that is. Now my second pick is Earthworm Jim. Earthworm Jim has some insane action with its quirky platforming and its unique weapons as you battle through some crazy enemies and the most bizarre levels design that just keeps things fresh from start to finish. The combat's smooth and Jim's abilities make it feel unique. Not only is this game fun, but the animations and the humour is top notch, giving this game a personality all of its own. Earthworm Jim is one of the best looking and most fun games on the system, to be fair, and it's not on the cheaper end. You're probably looking around about £40 for Earthworm Jim, but in my opinion, it's a great investment. Personal opinion, I'm going for RoboCop vs. Terminator. They're two of my favourite genres. But this was a hard one because Earthworm Jim is a masterpiece. And now for your RPGs. First off, we have Landstalker, an action-packed adventure with deep exploration. This game is huge. This is a good 10 hours of deep exploration and puzzle solving. You play as a treasure hunter, searching for a legendary treasure, obviously. In a world filled with danger and intrigue, the game features a real-time combat that has awesome platforming and a lot to explore. What sets Landstalker apart is its isometric perspective, which adds a unique feel to its platforming and its combat. Landstalker is one of the most beloved RPGs on the SEGA MEGADRIVE and is probably one of the most affordable ones. These games that I've picked do start to creep towards the 50 plus mark, to be fair, but a lot of the other RPGs that you've got at your disposal will probably start hitting around about the 80, 90, 100 mark, which I wanted to avoid. And my next one is Story of 4, also known as Beyond Oasis. This is a visually stunning action RPG that's often praised for its fluid combat and beautiful art style. You play as Prince Ali as you set out on an adventure to stop the dark forces that threaten the world. The game's combat is smooth, and you can summon element spirits to help you fight alongside your hero. With its gorgeous animations and engaging gameplay, Story of 4 is one of the best looking RPGs on the Mega Drive. And again, its price, I think I kind of broke my own rule with this one. The cheapest one I could see was on eBay and it was £55 complete. So you're looking to kind of stretch to beyond that £50 mark. But again, it's a lot cheaper than some of the other RPG options. RPGs seem to be pretty pricey on the SEGA Mega Drive. Now next up is your shoot 'em ups, or shmups, as people like to say. First one I picked is Desert Strike, a helicopter-based shooter with a mix of action and strategy. You pilot an Apache helicopter as you take on enemy forces. You got to rescue civilians or your fellow soldiers in a unique isometric perspective. This allows you to plan your attacks and use the environment to your advantage. Desert Strike offers a satisfying blend of action and strategy, and is a solid choice for any fan of the shoot 'em up genre. Now, I know not a traditional shmup, but it's still a great game within the shoot 'em up category. And the next one I picked was Urban Strike, a part of the same franchise, but in my opinion, Urban Strike took everything Desert Strike and Jungle Strike did and just amped it up. Better gameplay, better combat system, far superior graphics, and also gave you the ability to get out of your Apache helicopter. So there was, again, with the isometric view, you could walk around Alcatraz taking out different types of enemies with different types of weapons of your arsenal. Now, the mission structures are similar to the first games, but with a greater emphasis on faster paced combat and faster thinking. Now, Urban Strike combines action and strategy and makes it a great pick 'em up. And personal opinion, Urban Strike beats it hands down. A little bit more expensive, but the game has a lot more to offer. Next up is your sports. First I picked NBA Jam Tournament Edition. This is the ultimate over-the-top basketball experience. This game is all about fast pace, arcade action, with players performing insane dunks, crazy steal moves, and alley-oops. It has all your classic teams, like Chicago Bulls. That's all that matters. Just Chicago Bulls. Because that's the one team that everyone picked. And each team has unlockable players as well. Now, whether you're a basketball fan or not, this game is still pretty fun. And it's the closest thing you will get to experience the classic arcade fun at home. Next up is California Games. Now, this is a sports title that has a collaboration of all different types of sporting events, such as surfing, skateboarding, BMXing, halfpipe. Now, like I said before, I'm not a huge fan of sports titles, but California Games is pretty fun and gets very, very competitive, especially when playing multiplayer. Now for your racers. First up, I picked Road Rash 3, a perfect mix of high-speed motorbike racing and street brawling. You race against opponents using weapons to knock each other off the bikes, and the tracks are packed with obstacles and hazards. Now, with the Road Rash series, it's hard to pick a preferred one because each are just as good as each other. The reason I went for Road Rash 3 is I feel as though the tracks are a lot better and the music isn't as annoying as Road Rash 1. Road Rash 1's audio gets really stale really fast. It starts to drone on your brain. The Road Rash 3 visually is a little bit better. That's why I've gone with this one, and that is the only reason. And the next one is Micro Machines 2, a racing game with a completely different vibe. You control tiny toy cars racing around everyday options like snooker tables, your back garden, sandboxes, and the bathtub. The game's top-down perspective and tight controls makes it an intense racing game and has a very unique multiplayer mode because the controller ports are embedded within the car, allowing you to have up to 4 players, 2 in the console, 2 in the cartridge. Now, I'm not a huge fan of racing genre games, but these were the first 2 that jumped to mind, and especially Micro Machines 2. That is my pick. Now for your puzzlers. First I picked Lost Vikings. This game combines puzzle solving and platform in a unique way. You control 3 Vikings, each with their own special abilities. and you'll need to switch between them to solve the puzzles. So you have one Viking that's got a shield that allows to block obstacles, or he also uses to fill in gaps as a platform. You have a Viking that attacks, he has a sword and a bow, he's the only one that can kill anything. And then you have a Viking that can jump and climb. You've got to use these three Vikings in tandem with each other to traverse through the platforming and traverse through the levels. Now, while the game does get tricky at times, I wouldn't say it gets frustrating. It's just fun to figure out how to help each other to get from point A to point B with your unique abilities. This is a great pickup for anyone that loves puzzle platformers or puzzle games in general, and again is very, very affordable. Next up is the legendary Lemmings. This is a true classic when it comes to the puzzle genre. In this game you control a group of lemmings, and your job is to guide them safely from the start to the exit. Each lemming can be given a special ability, whether it's digging, building, blocking, climbing, anything like that. And it's all about figuring out the right combinations to save them. You have a percentage you've got to save towards the end of the level. So if it says 100% lemmings need to be saved, you've got to save 100%. The game's charm comes from its simple but challenging level designs. And it's just fun watching lemmings work together to overcome obstacles. It's also fun to blow them all up with a touch of the button as well. Lemmings is a fan favourite, and I've got to say, for nostalgia reasons, Lemmings is my pick. Now on to our last genre, adventure. First up, I picked Flashback, one of my favourite games of all time. This is a cinematic, perfect platformer with an incredible story and smooth-ass gameplay. You play as Conrad, a man on a mission to recover his lost memories while escaping a secret organisation that's out to kill him. Same story, different game. But the game's fluid animations and intricate level designs make it a standout. And mix that with amazing action, puzzle solving and exploration that just keeps the game fresh from start to finish. Like I said, Flashback is one of the greatest games of all time, in my opinion, and why we've never had a remake of this game, a full-fledged remake, is, in my opinion, criminal. Flashback is a great pickup for adventure lovers. That one, a great story and solid gameplay. Next up is Another World, also known as Out of This World. This is a groundbreaking adventure game with a unique art style. Its art style is very similar to Flashback and has that if you mess up, you are dead. One touch, gone. Start over. You play as Lester, a scientist who accidentally teleports himself to an alien world after a freak accident. The game's storytelling is minimal, but relies on its environment and its animations to tell you the story, which gives this game a unique, immersive feel. The puzzles are clever, the game is fluid with its animations, and the mood sets it apart from a lot of other games with this style. Another World is a must-play game for any fan with atmospheric adventures, and is considered one of the best examples of what the Mega Drive can do. This is hard to pick between the two, but I'm going with Flashback. It's always been one of my favourite games of all time. But I'd just break the rule with this and say get them both. So, there we have the games that I feel are the best options for each genre to start your collection. Now, like I said, this is my opinion, so I I'm not going to emphasize these are, you have to buy these games, apart from Sonic 2. You have to buy Sonic 2. I mean, there's no argument. You have to buy Sonic 2, right? Nice one. So that brings us on to the next one, which is accessories. Now, there's obvious accessories that people know, which is the Sega CD. Allows you to play Mega CD and Sega CD games, which brings me to one plus note on why the Mega Drive 1 is the must-go-to console, because the Mega Drive 1 works on both variations of the Sega CD. The Sega CD 2 comes with a plate attachment you stick on the side and it works. If you go with the Mega Drive 2, 1, you're an idiot, and 2, you're only going to have one option for the Sega CD. So, accessories, in my opinion, that you need to buy. First thing, you need a 6-button controller. If you want to play games like Streets or any form of fighting game, a 6-button controller is a must. If you're doing it with a 3-button controller, your initial setup when you start the match is your 3 buttons and punches. When you want to switch to kicks, you got to press start, and now the kicks. Press start, now the punches. Do you know how annoying that is? 6-button controller is a must if you want to be buying any fighting games, or else you're going to get your ass whooped. Now, the next accessory. Wait 1 second. What you say? Sure, I'll give you a kiss. Ah. Oh, you want me to insert something, didn't you? Okay. Is the Master System converter. I know you was all thinking, dirty-minded bastards. The Master System converter and the Sega Mega Drive. A match made in heaven. Why? Simple reason. Grab this. Insert into the top. Finish playing your Mega Drive games? Grab yourself a Master System game. Pop it in the top and play a Master System on my Mega Drive. I mean, it's a win-win. It's an absolute beautiful piece of kit, and it has saved me hours of time having to set up different systems to play a different generation of games. The Master System converter, in my opinion, is one of the greatest accessories for the Sega Mega Drive. It is a must-have, especially if you ever decide to go down the route of doing what I do and collecting multiple Sega systems. Why can't I put my Dreamcast stuff in my Mega Drive? Never mind. But yeah, Master System converter. Invest. So, there we have it, guys. That is my guide that I can give to you on how I feel you should start a Sega Mega Drive collection. Mega Drive 1, the go-to system. The list of games in genre and the accessories that you need. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope this helped with your collection. If there's anything, any suggestions you feel I missed, any games, accessories, if you can come up with an argument why the Mega Drive 1 isn't the best option, I don't want to hear it. Drop it in the comments below and let me know whether I've helped you out or not. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.